China is not part of the G7. I know, this will be obvious for many of you watching, but I've seen various comments asking why China is not in the G7, so I thought I'd make a video to answer some of those concerns. So make sure to like, subscribe and comment the Chinese flag in the comments below. And welcome to why China is not in the G7. Okay, so to begin, we need a quick recap of the G7. However, if you want a more complete version, you can see my G7 explained video. So, the G7 is an intergovernmental political forum consisting of 7 nations: Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the UK, and the USA. The EU is also present, for you savvy viewers who are watching, as a non-enumerated member. What this all means is that basically government ministers and heads of governments meet once a year to talk about global issues and their own issues, usually relating to geoeconomics and geopolitics. Pretty simple, right? Nice. So, the thing that brings the G7 nations together is the important element that explains why China is not part of the group. And this can be split into 2 reasons. So let's take a look. Two reasons bring the G7 together. 1. They are the most advanced and industrialized large economies in the world. And 2. They are liberal democracies and share democratic values. So let's take China and see where it doesn't fit. Starting with number 1. China today is a large economy, no doubt about it. It is home to the 2nd largest economy in the world, almost $20 trillion in size. So it definitely ticks this box. As for being an advanced industrialized economy, this is less obvious. Parts of China definitely classify as an advanced industrialized economy that produce high-value goods and services. This can be seen by their GDP per capita in nominal terms being in line with poorer European countries. The provinces of Beijing and Shanghai are similar to that of Estonia and Lithuania, both countries that are classified as advanced by the IMF and high income by the World Bank. However, China is not just Shanghai and Beijing, and as a whole has a nominal GDP per capita of $13,700, just above the global average. And as a result of that, the IMF classifies China as a developing economy, and the World Bank classifies it as an upper middle income country. So, for the purpose of meeting the criteria for the G7, China, even in 2023, technically doesn't tick this box, although it does feel like its economic size would weigh more in this decision though. Also, before we move to the next point, we have to remember that the G7 formed in the 1970s and expanded to include Russia temporarily in the 1990s. Back in this period, China was nothing like it is today. In fact, back in 1997, when Russia joined to make it the G8, up until it was later removed because it annexed Crimea, China had a GDP per capita of $782, less than 5% of Italy's GDP per capita. So, what about the second reason? Why isn't China part of a group of liberal democracies? All G7 members are liberal democracies. Some have better functioning democracies than others, as can be seen in this index created by the Economist Intelligence Unit, but China's 156th global ranking is not even close to the worst performing G7 nation, Italy, which ranks 34th globally. This is the key criteria that China doesn't meet. It isn't a democratic country. China governs itself in an entirely different way to G7 nations. And G7 nations have founding values about representative government and democracy. Now, although Russia managed to join after the Soviet Union collapsed due to a different dynamic in the geopolitical arena known as a critical juncture, China has never had a similar dynamic produce itself, and as a result, China and the G7 have not had their paths intersect, explaining why China is not part of the G7. Hey everyone, do you think China should be part of the G7 despite these differences? Let me know in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do, you can support me on Patreon, link in the description. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. Otherwise, take care. Bye.